So good to be in His presence together. It's just amazing what God does in one moment in His presence. We're going to read Luke 15 for just a minute, and I want you to know that it's so good to be with all of you in Brazil, and we are standing with you. All of us at Jesus Culture are standing with you, believing God for revival in Brazil. We believe that what God is doing in Brazil is really unique right now, that just seeing stadiums full and seeing this online gathering with all that have come together, that God really is up to something and that He is on the move in Brazil. We don't use that word revival lightly. I believe that God is releasing revival across the nation of Brazil. And in the midst of praying for a harvest, in the midst of praying for souls to come to Jesus, I want to highlight this one thing, because I believe that in the midst of revival, one of the first things that God is going after is He is going after the prodigals. We've been declaring this even at our own church, that this is a year for the prodigals, that churches are going to become homes once again for prodigals to come back to. And I believe right now, even in the pandemic that's happening around the world, even as the systems of the world have been disrupted, as things have been shaken, I believe that it's in the moments of shaking, it's in the moments of disruption that actually prodigals realize that what the world has promised them, it cannot deliver on. That the world has given them promises that it cannot fulfill. And I think that in these moments, prodigals realize what I've been looking for in the world, I can't find it, and there's only one place to find it. That I can't find peace in the world. I can't find hope in the world. I can't find healing in the world. I can't find security in the world, but I do know where to find it, and it's at the house of my Father. And because of this, I really believe that we're going to see prodigals flood back to the church in this hour, that there's been a disruption and a shaking in the systems of the world. Let me read this to you in Luke chapter 15, the passage that we know so well about the parable of the lost son. But when he comes into famine, he's in a place of crisis. He's in a place of famine. His world has become shaken. It's in that moment, in verse 17, it says this, but when he came to himself. Brazil, I want to encourage you to begin to declare this over prodigals that you know. That we're crying out for revival, that we're believing for revival, that we're believing for a move of God in our midst, and we're believing for those that don't know Jesus to encounter His saving grace, His love, and His power. And man, I can just feel the heart of God on this, that not only does He want to see those that don't know Him to come to know Him, but those who have called on His name, those that are His children, that are away from Him, that they would come to themselves, that they would come to their senses, and that they would come home. And this is what we believe. We believe that the prodigal son, when he was out in the world, that it wasn't who he was, and that when he finally came to himself, that's when he came home. And my prayer is this, and we're praying to see the destruction of this virus end. We are standing as intercessors, as a wall against this virus. But I am praying that the shaking that has happened would cause an awakening in the hearts of prodigals, and that they would realize the very thing that I've relied on is unreliable. And the world that I have looked to give me peace cannot give me peace. Only my Father can do that. And we are going to call them home, and we are going to call them to come back to themselves. We pray that right now, and it's been an honor to be with you, Brazil, to stand with you for revival, but we're gonna call them home. And you may know right now, if you know 2, 3, 4 prodigals, I want you to name them by name right now, and we just call them home. God, we declare that today you are calling the prodigals home, and in the midst of the shaking that's happening around the world, that you are revealing yourself to prodigals. You are calling as a father to them, saying, I can give you peace, that I can give you love, that the stability, the security, the peace that you're looking for is found in this home. And God, I pray that the church would welcome with open arms, that there would not be hoops that they have to jump through, that there wouldn't be judgment they have to walk through, but that they would come to a church that is ready to celebrate and throw a feast for those who have come home. And we pray that this year in Brazil would be a year of prodigals coming home, and that churches would be filled with those who have known Jesus and are coming back again. The Send, Brazil, such an honor to be with you, and we are believing God for revival.